Your fingers are already hooked inside his mouth. 2 seconds ago, this was a fair fight. Now his cheek is tearing and he's screaming, and you've just crossed into territory the UFC would fine you for. His friend is circling left. You've got maybe 5 seconds before this becomes a lesson in why street fighting has no rulebook and no referee to save anyone. Here's what happened. Parking lot outside a bar. 2 attackers. You're alone. This started as a shove. Now it's survival. In the cage, there are 31 illegal moves designed to keep fighters alive for the next round. On the street, those 31 fouls are your survival checklist. The octagon has rules to protect million-dollar athletes. The asphalt has physics, anatomy, and whoever's willing to use them first. Here are 10 techniques banned from every combat sport on earth. Eye gouges, throat strikes, joint breaks, groin destruction. They're illegal because they don't just win fights. They end them in under 3 seconds. You're not learning these to compete. You're learning them because when someone decides you're a victim, fairness is a fantasy you can't afford. Let's start with what's already working, then make it worse. Trick 1. The fish hook. Finishing what you started. He's grabbed you from behind. Bear hug. Arms pinned. Traditional strikes have no power. Every second trapped is another second. His friend gets into position. 2 fingers. Corner of his mouth. Hook the cheek like catching a fish. Yank sideways and backward with everything you have. Where the head goes, the body follows. That neck torque breaks his structure. Forces his spine to bend. Immediate flesh-tearing pain overrides every other input. His grip releases involuntarily. Not his choice, his nervous system made it for him. Possible jaw dislocation. Severe lacerations. The inside of the mouth has massive nerve density. Tissue tears easily. The head follows. Body reflex is automatic. You're exploiting spinal mechanics, not fighting muscle. Combat sports ban this for permanent facial damage risk. In the cage, this gets you sued. On the street, it gets you to your car. Second attacker is moving in. Time to address him. Trick 2. The oblique kick. The knee destroyer. He's charging from the side, can't turn fully. If he closes distance, you're fighting 2 people in grappling range. Numbers win. You lose. Target the side of his knee. Stomp kick with your heel. 45-degree angle downward. Catch him as he steps forward, weight on that leg. Drive through the joint line where femur meets tibia. Not to the surface. The knee is a hinge. Forward and backward only. 0 lateral stability. MCL, LCL, ACL tear simultaneously. He drops. Cannot stand, cannot chase. This isn't pain, it's mechanical destruction. Knee ligaments are elastic bands holding bones together. Sideways force tears them like overstretched rubber. A 150-pound person generates 800 pounds of force with a stomp kick. That joint isn't surviving. Career ending in the cage. Life-saving on asphalt. Fighters complain this is too dangerous. They're right. That's the point. First attacker is recovering behind you. You're not finished. All right. Let's back up. What if you never got the fish hook in? What if they grabbed you differently? Trick 3. The rabbit punch. Brainstem shock. Attacker has you in a front headlock. Or he's bent over after a failed tackle. Back of his skull is exposed. From this position, he can still stand up, regroup, drag you down. Standard punches to his face are difficult from this angle. Base of the skull. Where spine meets brain. Hammer fist strike, straight downward. Like driving a nail. No arc, pure vertical force. Elbow drop if you have the angle. Multiple strikes if the first doesn't land clean. The brainstem controls motor function, consciousness, breathing. Unlike a jaw shot that rattles the brain, this disconnects the signal entirely. Concussion is near guaranteed. Possible neck injury, loss of consciousness, motor control shutdown. The brainstem is protected only by thin skull bone. Direct trauma here doesn't need rotation. Linear impact is enough. The medulla oblongata controls automatic functions. Trauma here causes immediate disorientation or complete shutdown. Boxing outlawed this in 1915. Took them that long to realize it was too effective. What if you can't reach the head? Need options that work lower. Trick 4. Small joint manipulation. The finger snap. He's grabbing your shirt, your wrist, your arm. His grip is stronger than your pulling force. You could try to muscle out, waste energy, waste time, or you could fight his 5-pound finger instead of his 200-pound body. Identify his weakest finger, usually the pinky or ring finger on the outside of his grip. Grab that single finger with your entire hand, whole fist wrapped around one digit. Bend it backward toward the back of his hand with explosive force. Alternative, grab 2 fingers and spread them apart like scissors. Small joints break with 8 to 15 pounds of force. Broken finger means immediate involuntary release. Pain overrides grip strength. Not voluntary. He cannot grab with that hand for the rest of the fight. Finger joints are held together by tiny ligaments designed for dexterity, not force resistance. A gripped hand exerts 70+ pounds of force. His finger joint tolerates maybe 15 before ligament failure. Your entire hand versus his one finger is 10-to-1 mechanical advantage. This gets banned from every grappling competition for the same reason. Size and skill become irrelevant. Why fight a 200-pound man when you can fight his 5-pound finger? He's released you but thrown a wild punch. Close-range counters now. Trick 5. The groin strike. Systemic shutdown. Close range. Can't generate power for head strikes. Ground fighting favors size and strength. If this goes to the floor, disadvantage becomes decisive. Need something that works at 0 distance. Doesn't require perfect accuracy. For male attackers, the target is obvious. Knee strike from the clinch or snap kick from distance. Don't aim for the surface. Drive upward like pushing them into his pelvis. Follow immediately with other strikes. Don't wait. Keep moving. Testicles are external organs with massive nerve density and 0 protection. This doesn't just cause local pain. It triggers systemic shock. Vagus nerve response causes nausea, vomiting, possible unconsciousness. He drops involuntarily. This bypasses size, training, pain tolerance entirely. Testicular trauma sends signals so overwhelming they override the sympathetic nervous system. Blood pressure drops. Nausea triggers. Body prioritizes survival over aggression. Evolution didn't design males to keep fighting with genital trauma. The nervous system shuts them down. Banned from combat sports because it ends fights too fast. It's the oldest trick in the book. Still works. That's why it's still in the book. What if you're grabbed from behind and can't reach the groin? Let's move on. They've grabbed you from behind. Bear hug. Full body control. Can't reach anything we've covered. Now what? Trick 6. The spine crank. Cervical torque. He's got you in a rear bear hug or attempting a choke from behind. Arms pinned or restricted. From this position, he can choke you unconscious in 8 to 12 seconds or slam you backward onto concrete. Traditional escapes require technique and time you don't have. If you can reach his head, grab it with both hands. Twist violently sideways. Pick a direction. Commit. You're not trying to turn around. You're cranking his cervical spine. If in a front headlock, wrap your arm around his head and torque while driving your knee into his ribs for anchor. Goal is vertebral torque, not choking. The cervical spine is the most fragile part of the backbone. Violent lateral torque risks permanent spinal injury, paralysis, death. But there's another layer. He feels his spine bending in ways it shouldn't. That primal terror overrides training. The body's self-preservation instinct forces him to release and go limp to prevent spinal damage. The neck contains 7 cervical vertebrae, protecting the spinal cord. These are designed for moderate rotation, not violent torque under resistance. Excessive force can dislocate vertebrae, compress the cord, sever it. Even submission grappling sports like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ban this. Injury is catastrophic and immediate. Grappling rules exist to let both guys walk out. You're not here for a handshake afterward. You've created separation, but he's still standing. Need immediate follow-up. Trick 7. The ear clap. Equilibrium destruction. You've broken free, but the attacker is recovering. Need something that doesn't require precise targeting or perfect power. If he recovers balance and orientation, you're back where you started, except now he's angrier. Cup both hands. Concave shape, not flat palms. Strike both ears simultaneously in a clapping motion. Compressing air, not slapping. The compressed air explodes into the ear canal like a shockwave. Follow with throat or eye strikes while he's disoriented. Don't wait. Keep attacking. Ruptured eardrum causes instant vertigo, nausea, complete spatial disorientation. Balance is controlled by the inner ear. Damage it and he can't stand. May fall over without additional strikes. The eardrum is a thin membrane under constant atmospheric pressure. Sudden pressure spike ruptures it like overinflating a balloon. The semicircular canals controlling balance are directly connected. Rupture causes immediate proprioception failure. He doesn't know which way is up. His brain is screaming conflicting balance signals. Recovery takes weeks. Permanent hearing damage possible. This bypasses pain tolerance. You're attacking biological systems that can't be toughed out. They won't hear the ambulance coming. You won't stick around to find out. Down to the highest risk techniques now. The ones that can kill. Trick 8. The throat strike. Respiratory shutdown. Attacker is still advancing or has recovered from your last technique. Every second this continues is another chance for his friend to get back up, for police to arrive, for you to make a fatal mistake from exhaustion. Need immediate, decisive stopping power. Target the trachea, the windpipe, between the collarbones, below the Adam's apple. Weapon is a knife hand strike. Rigid hand, thumb tucked, or spear hand, fingertips together. Strike horizontally, not downward. Downward hits thick neck muscle. Horizontal hits the trachea dead on. Drive through like touching his spine. Alternative. Grab and crush with full grip. The trachea is cartilage, not bone. Collapses under direct force. Partial collapse triggers panic reflex, gag response, breathing difficulty. Full collapse is potentially fatal. Suffocation. Requires emergency tracheotomy. Even moderate strike induces overwhelming survival panic that overrides all training and aggression. When the brain realizes it can't breathe, fight response shuts down entirely. The trachea is held open by C-shaped cartilage rings. Direct strike collapses these inward. Even partial obstruction triggers carbon dioxide buildup, panic response, potential unconsciousness within 60 seconds. This is universally outlawed. Lethality risk is too high. Is this excessive force? That's a conversation for your lawyer. After you survive. Final 2 techniques. When you're losing and desperate. Trick 9. The eye gouge. Visual system destruction. Everything else has failed or you couldn't execute it. You're on the ground, mounted or pinned. Last resort territory. Ground position with attacker on top means strikes have no power and escapes are technical. If you don't create immediate damage, you lose by attrition or he chokes you unconscious. Thumb or multiple fingers driven into the eye socket. Don't poke. Hook behind the orbital bone and pull or push. Both eyes if possible. He can't close distance if he can't see. Expect blood. Expect screaming. Eyes are the only exposed part of the central nervous system. Zero pain tolerance. Zero toughening possible. Trauma causes instant incapacitation through pain. Visual system shutdown. Psychological shock. Permanent blindness is possible. The eye is soft tissue protected only by thin bone. Pressure on the eyeball or behind it causes immediate reflexive shutdown. The body prioritizes protecting vision above everything. Orbital socket damage risks permanent vision loss. And there's a psychological component most people don't consider. The attacker sees your thumb approaching his eye. That image, that specific threat, triggers existential terror before you even make contact. No combat sport on Earth allows this. Injury is irreversible and devastating. The octagon would ban you for life. The morgue doesn't have that policy. When nothing else is possible. Final option. Trick 10. The skull spike. Gravity as weapon. You've somehow gotten the attacker off the ground. Adrenaline, desperation, lucky reversal, doesn't matter. This is your one chance to end it permanently. If you put him down gently or he lands safely, you've wasted your only advantage. He will get back up angrier. If you've lifted him, any position. Bear hug reversal. Failed takedown you reversed. Drive the crown of his head vertically into the pavement. Don't drop him. Actively drive downward with your body weight. Target concrete, asphalt, anything hard. This is called spiking in wrestling. Banned because it breaks necks. The cervical spine cannot handle vertical compression forces. Skull first impact into hard surface causes neck fracture, spinal cord injury, paralysis, death. The human neck supports the head's weight, 10 to 12 pounds. In normal posture, vertical impact forces of 150 plus pounds, his body weight accelerated by your downward drive, exceeds structural limits by 10 to 15 times. Vertebrae compress, dislocate, fracture. This is the technique police use lethal force to prevent. You are using gravity, his body weight, and concrete as combined weapons. Wrestling federations added this to the banned list after multiple paralysis incidents. In MMA, this ends your career. On the street, it ends the fight. Permanently. Here's why these techniques are universally banned. They don't test skill. They exploit biology. In sport, the goal is to determine the better athlete. On the street, the goal is survival. These 10 techniques bypass muscle, training, size advantage. They attack the nervous system, skeletal structure, sensory organs, respiratory function. None require years of practice. All require commitment to violence most people can't muster. That's what attackers bet on. They're betting you'll hesitate, pull your punches, fight fair. That hesitation gets you killed. Back to the parking lot. Both attackers are down. One is holding his face. One cannot stand. You're breathing hard, covered in blood. Not all yours. The question was never can you win a fight. It was can you survive an attack. You walk to your car. Your hands won't stop shaking. In 6 hours, you'll talk to police. In 6 days, you'll talk to a lawyer. In 6 months, you'll still see his face when you close your eyes. But you'll be alive to see it. Because when someone decides you're prey, there's no referee to stop the fight. There's no tap out. There's only walking away or not walking away. And every technique in this video is why you walked away. The UFC has 31 fouls for a reason. On the street, they're your 31 reasons to survive. Stay dangerous.